I know, I know this, I know I love him.
This all started back before the breakup, when things were still looking up. I went to work one day with these thoughts in my head, and um, I was pretty depressed at the moment when it was happening. Um, about maybe a couple days before Halloween, or actually, yeah, a couple days before Halloween, I I started thinking about these memories that I had as a child with my family and how I was treated when I was younger. Specifically, two of my cousins. Um, when I was at work, I started to remember those thoughts, and I explained to my manager that I wasn't feeling okay and that if I could take a quick break and talk. Of course, she agreed to completely talk to me, and I told her everything and was afraid that I was gonna hurt myself because I something in my head was telling me that it's better off if I don't live because nobody cares about me at all. So, to prevent from hurting myself, I had a box knife on the side of my pants that they gave me for work. And I didn't want to hurt myself, so to prevent from doing any harm to myself, I threw the box knife down out of fear that I would hurt myself. And my manager called the police. She told them what was going on, and I was in tears out of fear that I would harm myself. They took me to the hospital to check me out, see what was going on, and then I was put in a mental health facility for 42 hours. I didn't like how things were there. I didn't like the food. I didn't like how they treated me. They thought they could understand me when they really didn't. They honestly barely understood me. And every single night, I would think and wish I could just be home. So, a day later, things start to look up when I was finally able to talk to my friends and family and letting them know that I was gonna be okay and that I'm okay. Uh, Later, I started to make some type of what you would call friends in the mental health facility. And after the next day, people started to finally disappear, and along with me, so did I. When I got home, I felt so happy to see my friends and family. I immediately called them to let them know that I was home. I went to go visit some, not all, but some. The rest I texted and called telling them that I was home and okay. And things started to look up for me. But keep in mind, the only reason I left was because I wanted to get out of there as quick as possible. So I faked being okay. Because I didn't want to be there any longer. For one, I felt better. And for two, I really did not want to be there any longer than I had to be. Fast forward to December, my ex texts me. She tells me we're through and that it was nice knowing me. At first, I thought she was playing a sick joke on me, and she tells me she wasn't kidding. And then I start to feel a little upset, and I tell her, "You're joking, right?" And then she tells me, "Yes." I ask her what's really going on, And then she said, "Don't worry about it." And then says that it wasn't her who said it, that it was somebody else who did. Knowing how she is, to get answers for myself, I went to her house and I questioned her. I asked what's really going on, and she tells me what's going on. She tells me she broke up with me for certain reasons, and she said she was doing it to protect me. I'm not gonna say exactly what she was protecting me from, but let's just say it was a really good reason. So I accepted the fact that she was trying to protect me and just let it be. But time and time went on, and for 3 days I didn't eat or sleep, and I lost weight tremendously and got skinnier too, and I couldn't feel any emotion at all, not even one bit. I would watch things that would make me laugh, nothing. I would try and cheer myself up by talking to my friends, nothing. Um, and I couldn't feel any emotion in between any of it. Finally, I was able to feel emotion, but not the good kind. I I go to a friend's house for privacy reasons. His name's Red Hood. I went to Red Hood's house and I asked if he could help me fix my computer because there was something wrong with it. He said sure, and he got to fixing it, and I watched as he fixed it to see if I could ever do it the next time. So I tried to talk to my ex and see if we could at least be friends, which at the time I guess it didn't really work out. She honestly tried to ignore me, given the fact that she said she would try to talk to me a little more. And I was still wanting to know answers, so I would try too much to get her attention just so I could get the answers I needed. And I started to feel really upset, and out of nowhere, I had this emotion kicking in, telling me that it's better if I don't exist. But because I didn't want to kill myself, and because I couldn't control my body other than what I was thinking in my head to say, I told Red Hood to take my advice and hold me down, because what I'm about to do next isn't safe. At first, he didn't listen, and then I went to his kitchen and grabbed a knife, threatening to stab myself or harm myself in any way. Thankfully, he took my advice, grabbed me, pinned me down, and made me drop the knife. And knowing him, it was a good thing he did that, because the guy's an incredible fighter, an incredible protector, an all above strong guy, if you just want to mention it like that. He knew what pressure point to hit to pin me down, and thankfully, it worked. I let go of the knife, I let go of my grip, and he was squeezing me with both his arms, keeping my arms in check, not letting me go. And then when he brought me to his room, he had an enormous talk with me saying what's going on and what he doesn't agree with. And that's when he made me make the biggest choice of my life that split my head in two. After the enormous talk, he gave me a choice of things. He called one of my old friends that was really mad at me with some of the choices that I've made, and he told me if I wanted to be friends with him still, and he asked him the same thing. He said yes, and so did I. But then he made me make the toughest choice of my life that ended up splitting my head in two. He said either I choose my ex or I choose my friends. I ended up having a mental breakdown in his house when that happened, and I passed out from all the yelling that I was doing. I was actually literally yelling my head off, and I couldn't choose between yes or no, this or that. Pretty much choose individual choices. I don't remember much after passing out and waking up. I only remember most of what was leaving the house back into my car and back to my place. And what really made me upset about my friends making me choose one over the other was the fact that they were treating my ex like a villain. They never noticed and they never knew what her past was like. They never noticed and they never knew and took the time to actually know her. They never noticed and knew that because they're treating her like a villain, because they're treating her so poorly, because they don't see what I see, they would treat her so bad. And they didn't stop and think to realize the good times she gave me and the reason why she broke up with me, which was actually honestly a really good reason. It was nothing bad about me, nothing bad about her, but long story short, it was to protect me. When we were dating, because she had such a tough life, because she struggled so much, believe it or not, she told me a lot of her exes that she went out with treated her terribly and did terrible things to her. She said that she was ready to just give up on life and just disappear from the planet. She said that if it wasn't for me and the relationship I gave her, she wouldn't be around to this day. And because of that, she decided to thank me by giving me incredible memories that to this day I will never forget. But yeah, for an entire week, I didn't know right from wrong, yes or no, pretty much any type of choice or individual choice. And I ended up leaving my house one night. I ended up leaving the house to get some fresh air and going to my friend's house to see what they think of all this. And that's when it takes me to 3 of my friends who helped me through this journey. I ended up driving to my friend's house for some advice to see what they thought about things, and he allegedly agreed with me, uh, but he had told me that somehow my family had found out what I was doing, and they were worried for me and went out looking for me after I didn't want to be found and wanted to do this alone. Then later, so that I can be untracked and so I can do this on my own, I went to another friend's house, and I talked to 2 of my friends named Ricardo and Gabby. They told me their opinion and they agreed with me, but at the same time they didn't. I told them what was going on with me. I told them why I couldn't think straight and why I couldn't decide things. And keep in mind, the friend that I wanted to be friends with again was actually Ricardo. He told me that he didn't like how my ex treated me and he thought that she was a bad influence and a bad person, But then I explained to him and told him what she's really like, what she's told me, what she's shown me, and what she's done for me. And he saw the errors in his ways and decided to try and help her out actually in seeing if her life could go a lot more better, considering so many people treat her like such garbage. Um, and then they told me to call my family to let me know how I'm doing, that I'm okay, and because they didn't want anything happening to me, because they were afraid that something would happen to me if I tried driving in the state of mind that I am, because they told me they could clearly see, literally, and clearly tell, literally, that I was not feeling good and not in the right state of mind. If I remember correctly, I think they told me that my eyes looked terrible, and so did my face, and so did the rest of my body, and then it looked like I needed sleep, and they were right. At the time when I went to their house, I hadn't had sleep for a couple days. Um, or eaten for a couple days. So they convinced me and actually forced me to stay by taking anything that I had of being able to leave the house and hiding it so that I could stay the night and potentially be protected from possibly getting in a car crash and dying. After that, I went back home. I still felt depressed, but I felt a lot more better at the same time. Then some more time went on, and slowly I was finally able to make up some choices and get my mind straight. Um, and then finally I reached out to my ex because she said she wanted to talk to me about something. And she told me how she was crushing on her best friend. And knowing of the type of person that I am and knowing that I didn't want it to get to me, I just stayed cool and accepted the fact that she was saying these things to me. After we hung up the call, I walked to my room and I stayed in there for quite a bit. I started saying these words in my head. For specific reasons, I started saying, she doesn't love me anymore, she doesn't love me anymore. I'm not wanted by anybody except my friends and nobody else. And I was saying that specifically because I was extremely hurt. And I was trying to convince myself that it was over and to stop trying so hard. But it wasn't helping. I ended up in tears and a broken heart again. I called my friend to let him know what's going on, and my family came in and saw me. And they saw that I wasn't okay. Both of them talked to me, and so did my dad. They both told me, along with my friend, that they think it's better if I blocked my ex to help me feel better. And honestly, it hasn't really been making me feel better. I'm okay now, but things don't affect me as bad, but I'm okay now. I'm okay a little better at a time. If I can, I might try to let her back in my life again to see if we can just be friends and let our past be our past. Because even though people treat her like such a bad person, believe it or not, she gave me incredible memories that I will never forget. And slowly over time, I will see how I feel about it. Hopefully things get better for me. But yeah, that brings us to this day. Starting from when I made that last video of what's been going on with me and what's been going on with me now. To this day, I am slowly feeling better. My friends are there for me a lot more. I've been hanging with them a lot more. I've been talking to my family a lot more. I've been slowly trying to keep myself back in shape and push myself over the limit so that I'm not the way I am now. I'm forcing myself to push myself over the limit only because I'm tired of being weak and I don't want to feel like this anymore. So daily, nightly, I've been pushing myself to work harder, to get stronger, so that I'm no longer like this anymore. And thanks to all this that I've been doing for myself and for my friends being there for me, I've been getting a lot more better and I've been eating a lot more better. If you'll see now, you'll see that some names are starting to pop up in the video. But yeah, the names that are popping up in the video are people I want to specifically thank because they were there for me, even when things looked down. They were there for me even though I thought things were hopeless. And they were also people who were there for me even though everybody else left me. For the majority of the time of how I felt, I was losing friends majorly. And the people who stayed with me, you will see in the video right now. But if by any chance you guys are watching this that are on the screen right now, I want to thank you a lot. Unlike every other person I talked to help me out, unlike every other person who insulted me, unlike every other person who misunderstood me, or especially even her for that matter, I want to thank you a lot because even though you guys had to deal with everything that I gave you, everything that I did to you, every single suicidal memory that I talked about, you guys were there for me and stopped me whenever things were bad and looked down. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me until the end of this journey. I'm still healing, but still, thank you. Especially for those at the end of the list. Even though if you don't know it, you definitely impacted my life and changed me for the better. And I hope you can still be a part of my life. That's the end of my story for now. Thanks for watching.